Thank you so much for being on the road to rock. It is such a pleasure to have you, man, joining us all the way from Sweden, a place I've always wanted to visit, by the way. You guys have been to America just a couple times. How many times have you been to America in your life?
With the band
Just in
or
general.
I've actually been quite a couple of times. I've been like 4 times with my family.
Oh, awesome. Where'd you go?
Yeah, Bradenton in Florida.
Oh, yeah. That's funny. I spent some time there. So uh, I'm a big Chiefs fan, NFL team, the Chiefs. I'm in Kansas City. And the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl last year. So I have some bad memories. We stayed near Bradenton, Florida, and went to the game. And the Chiefs, of course, lost to the Buccaneers. So I have some bad memories now of that place. But my goodness, and we're I've talked to so many. I think I've had every Crazy Lixx band member on except maybe Chrissy. And the question's always the same, and that's when do we get a full-fledged US tour? And I know, Joel, that it's so hard to make that work, and we just can hope it happens at some point, right?
The problem is that it's extremely expensive to bring a European band to the US. I mean, just the visas for 5 people is $3,000, and that's
Yeah,
just the visas.
it's
And then you
unbelievable.
have flight airfare and so on and so on. And it's hard for us. I mean, we do want to go out and tour, but we have never been the band that goes out for a 2 3 weeks run because it doesn't work for us.
Hmm.
I mean, we all have families. Uh, we all have jobs as well. I mean, we're not doing this for a living yet, and I don't really have that much hope for it after 20 years to start living off of this. But I mean, to come out and play every once in a while, and especially come to the US because I don't know if Danny said it was the second highest listener audience we have is in the US, or it was the largest. I'm not sure. I think you guys were the second largest, and you guys are the hardest ones to get to.
Right. And I mean, you do have the Monsters of Rock cruise coming up, which gets you kind of in front of that American audience, and it goes from I think out of Florida this year, and that's going to be tremendous. And you guys have had a couple shows. You did your album release party a few weeks ago. How have the live shows been getting back to it? I think it had been like 18, 20 months since you guys had played a show.
2 years, yeah, more or less.
Man, unbelievable. That's just
Yeah, no, it was good actually. I mean, playing in our hometown, hometown. I mean, 3 of the 5 of us lived in Malmo. Now only Danny lives in Malmo still. But no, for being a hometown gig, it was good. And the first time we played in 2 years, it was beyond expectations. I mean, last time we had a release party in Malmo, we had a lot of technical difficulties with our in-ear system, so it was kind of a disaster, more or less. But we did that gig, and then we went to Finland the week after, and that one was actually cooler because we actually sold out that show, and it was like 400 Finnish people go singing along. I mean, we were supposed to play it 3 years ago, but it got delayed and moved forward because different reasons. Then Corona came, and yeah, we didn't really have any hopes for it, but it seemed like expectations were high in Finland because we pre-sailed. I don't remember, but a lot of tickets. So in the final stages, it was like, yeah, we have to open up for like 50 people more because you guys have sold out. So that was a good thing.
that's a good sign, and I think that it's a crime, it's a tragedy that this band, especially in America, hasn't gone to bigger heights because I think this music, you guys have just continuously the bar has been raised. You think back to kind of what I refer to as the new kind of start over the 2.0 of Crazy Lixx, which was around the Rough Justice time. You guys brought in some new members
Mm.
and kind of pressed the reset button. The production has just continued to get better, leading us to Street Lethal, which to me, I didn't think it was going to be really possible to top Forever Wild, but I think you guys have done it on Street Lethal. To me, every album you guys do has a theme. If Rough Justice was the ultimate driving around at night, racing your car
Mm.
album, Forever Wild was the ultimate summer album. This is the ultimate soundtrack to Kickboxer starring Jean-Claude Van Damme album. Am I wrong?
Yeah. No, you hit the button exactly. That was the point. I mean, Rough Justice was a little bit different because after Chris and Jens joined the band, we uh, Danny got an offer from those guys who made the Friday the 13th game.
Right.
He was asked to, okay, can't you make a couple of songs for the game? And this was before it hit the heights that it did. I mean, it was just a crowdfunding thing to go to at first, but then after we submitted the songs, it all blew up. But those three songs, since they were very much in the Jason spirit, so to speak, we had kind of like a theme going. Okay, but maybe we should do like a little bit darker album. And then, as you said, driving
Yeah.
at night and listening to old 80s hard rock. I mean, we have suddenly had a theme, and we haven't had a theme before. The only theme we had was for New Religion. That the only thing we thought about was the songs should be arena fit,
Yeah.
so you can play it in an arena, then it would still sound good. Because if if you're Cannibal Corpse, you can't really go to arena and play that loud, that fast music without those kinds of speakers, because you won't hear anything in reality. But and then the other albums were not that themed. It was very not divided, but it was kind of moving away from the thing that we did in New Religion, and maybe that was a mistake. I'm not sure. I mean, it's easy to say it now, but considering that Rough Justice and Street Lethal and for a while have these themes, and it's not a theme that goes through the whole albums, but there's
Right.
usually at least 2-3 songs that represent more or less the album cover.
Yes, and that's very noted on this album, which I gave it a 9.5 out of 10 in the review I did for our website, starcademedia.com, because I think this, I called 2019's Forever Wild the album, the melodic hard rock album of the decade. We got a new decade now, so I guess Street Lethal's the hard rock album of this decade. I can't be a bigger fan of what you guys have done. I think this album is tremendous in every way. Take a song like Visions in the Night, which is kind of an exploration for you guys. It's over 7 minutes long, kind of more
Mm,
plotting like an Iron Maiden song.
yeah.
That to what do you attribute the production value? That to me is what stands out the most, the production of these songs. How did you bring in somebody that you from the outside? How did the production of albums like Street Lethal get so perfect? It's like as if Mutt Lange produced this album almost.
No, the only difference was that we had a different mixer.
Yeah.
We used Tobias Lundell, who's worked with Europe and Heat and Mustache and a lot of bands, many of the large bands in Sweden. He's been mixing and mastering those bands a lot, and we have been using Chris Laney for almost every album, more or less. And we wanted to try something new, see what happens if we kind of used a different approach to the mixing. But when it comes to producing, Danny has been the producer for the last 3 albums. So we haven't had anybody coming in from the outside that goes, well, change this and play that or do something different. It's just Danny has a vision, more or less. We talk about it in group sessions, and I mean, we don't. I mean, we can have input. I mean, for instance, "Peep in the Night" is Chris's song.
Mm.
For instance,
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. But this album actually has the most outside collaborations that we've ever done. I think that on Forever Wild there was like 1 song, and on Rough Justice I think it was maybe 1 or 2 songs that Danny worked with other people to make the album. But for this album, at least 2 songs are Chris's, and I think at least 2 songs are at least a collaboration with Danny and some other music producer. Because we're not the band that sits down in a rehearsal room and somebody comes with a riff and goes, "Hey, I have this riff," and you start jamming 5 hours, and later on you have a song. I mean, we have gone way past that. That's not a work ethic that works with us. It's more or less that everybody except me, since I can't write these kinds of songs, writes material, sends it to each other. We take a listen. If there's something that we find would work with the theme of the album or work in general, we have a discussion, and sometimes Danny changes some things on the song, but sometimes he doesn't. So that's the way we work, and that's been working out pretty nice.
Certainly so, and that's very interesting insight there. And as I look at the history of the band, I mean, you and Danny have been around since the beginning. You're the two original members that are left. I'm sure this has been an unbelievable journey, and something that's been filled with, you know, ups and downs. And what does it say about the kind of relationship between you and Danny that you guys have kind of stood through this whole thing and seen this through? Because a lot of bands would have not made it. They just wouldn't have made it through all this.
The funny thing is that we actually played before even did Crazy Lixx. I mean, I played with Danny since I was 18.
Wow.
Which is 23 years now. So we first started out with, and Vic, I've actually played even longer. Vic and I met when I was 17 and started playing together, just jamming Metallica songs back then for a mutual friend. And we met Danny a year later through another mutual friend, and we had this very obscure metal band which had influences from all over. Back then, Danny was very much into power metal things. I was and still am pretty much a death metal freak, and Vic was he was into this Pantera-ish groove thing. So you can imagine how that sounded. I mean, it was pretty good, but it took like 2 years to make 3 songs. So it was kind of hard to like meet in the middle of what he wanted to do. But after a couple of years, Daniel said, "No, I want to do something just to pay an homage to the 80s rock that he was brought up on, like Skid Row and Def Leppard and stuff that he liked in the 80s and the 90s." So that's how that started. But I mean, for us, knowing each other for 23 years, I mean, you take a lot of time off from each other when you're not touring or rehearsing or recording an album. I think that's pretty much, and I think that's actually quite standard for most bands. I mean, you're up on each other a long time, and especially on tours. I mean, it's very, very seldom you have time for yourself. Sure. And you're always around somebody. It's just like one time out of 100 you get a single room for a hotel, so you can have time for yourself. But I mean, at the same time, we have a close bond, all of us. I mean, we're 5 people in the band that somehow got together and kind of find a mutual friendship and a mutual respect. And I mean, even now, I mean, Jens and Chris has been in the band since 2016, and it's 5 years now, and we still hang out. I mean, we don't hang out so much in private, but whenever we're out, I mean, we're in Japan, we were there for a week, even though we just did 2 gigs. And we were there for 3 days before we started doing promotion and before we started playing. And we were together, all of us, more or less the whole time, going out, sightseeing, eating food together, talking and stuff like that.
Oh, it's so cool to hear that. And I think that like I mentioned earlier, the band really got a restart in 2016 when they joined. And it doesn't hurt that all of you are so good looking. I mean, what is it about Swedes in general? I mean, every band, every person, I swear Crash Diet came over here for a tour in like 2012. Everybody that worked on their crew, the girls selling shirts, it was just like, what is this? I need to spend some more time in Sweden, Joel. I got to get there.
Wear a bulletproof vest.
Oh no, that's here, Joel. That's here in America. You got to do that now.
We have a lot of that in Sweden as well.
Really,
especially around Malmo and Stockholm. It's not as large, of course. That's, I mean, US have 300 million people. We have 10. So
right.
But we do have a lot of shit here going on here as well. But I imagine that's standard for every country nowadays.
Well, I get this vision of Sweden. You can't ruin it for me because I'm picturing these just like soft rolling hills and people just sort of all like, have you ever seen the movie Midsummer? I picture that minus the like, you know, senseless murder of Americans.
But it's kind of like more Midsummer now.
Right?
Then.
Yeah. Oh, great. Well, I just canceled my trip. Okay, so no.
no, Sweden
awesome.
Is cool. I mean, if you like Sweden and you want a good experience of Sweden and a general thing, you should definitely go to Sweden Rock
Yeah.
Festival. It's a
Yes.
very, very, I mean, it feels very family oriented. If you can
Yeah.
get what I
I
mean.
do.
I mean, everyone who's works there and the crew and sound guys and the people there, very friendly. I've been there a couple of times. I'm not too fond of a lot of people around me, so I usually don't go to festivals unless I'm playing. But the few times I've been there and played there, I can't say I've seen a single fight ever.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
awesome. That's
yeah.
and that's a bucket list one for sure. And that's kind of leads me into this. There's so many wonderful Swedish bands, and there a lot of them are on your label. Eclipse just released their album. They were tremendous. On your YouTube channel, I saw you covered a Heat song. Which Heat song did you cover on your YouTube channel? So Living on the
I
Run?
think it was
Liv- Living on the Run,
it
was it?
wasn't all about tonight. It was
I know. I just watched this like 2 days ago. I love Heat is awesome. They've got
yeah,
their old singer back, and then Eric Gronwall is doing his new power metal project, which is
yeah.
be interesting. Not quite death metal enough for you. We got to find you an outlet for that. But what does it say about
I do
the?
enjoy other kinds of
Yeah,
music as well, but I used to be a very much death metal freak.
I
Since I'm a drummer, and usually the drummers in death metal bands are fantastic. So
oh man,
growing up, it was like, oh, listen to this.
it's very true. I was always a fan of that kind of style, and I'll tell you who did it really well. And Motorhead's not a death metal band, but Mickey D and a Motorhead is tremendous. That double kick drum, Dave Lombardo, from
Mm,
Slayer, those ones
one
just
of my
like
favorite drummers.
yeah, absolutely. But regardless of that, there's so many bands coming out of Sweden and that are making music that Americans loved in the '80s, certainly. That it's just a melodic style. What is it? What's going on there to where that this music is so prevalent? Why has that happened, do you think?
It's hard to say. I mean, when we started out, there was, I mean, we didn't know that anybody was doing the same thing we were. I mean, as I said before, Danny just wanted to pay an homage to the 80s and 90s rock that he enjoyed when he was younger. And
Sure.
after 1 or 2 years, we kind of got in touch with bands like Crash Diet. And we played with the Heat guys before they were Heat. We played in a very small club in Stockholm when it was three of the members in Heat that played in another band. I can't remember the name right now. But even then, you could see that those three guys were really fantastic musicians and very young as well. And then afterwards, shortly after that, Trading Fate was their name.
That's
After
right.
that, a couple of months later, they got together with Jonah and I can't remember the guitarist's name. I'm terrible with names.
Yeah.
But the guitarist's name, they formed Heat. And then we heard the demo that they did before they got signed. And even then, you could hear the quality of that band.
Yeah.
And Eclipse, I've known the drummer quite some time. We actually met on tour in England when he was playing with another band called Fatal Smile.
Oh yeah. Great
And
band.
then we saw Eclipse because I saw them before and I listened to them a lot of years because they're also a very fantastic band and like super nice people. But he wasn't the original drummer. It was Robin Beck, who's playing with Mustache right now, and also with Jonah and Eric on this new
Yeah.
project.
Yes.
But the drummer joined Eclipse, and I was like, I just met him. And it's like, hey, what are you doing here? No, I play with Eclipse now. I was like, what? Okay. So we started talking, and whenever we meet, it was like a big hug and how you doing, and talk some drums and stuff like that. But
Is there competition? Or is there a competitive spirit between the bands? I mean, you guys all kind of, it seems like, take turns releasing high quality albums. I mean, Heat's album, Heat 3
two,
from 2020
mm,
was absolutely unreal.
mm,
This comes off the heels of you guys releasing Forever Wild, which I was so, and then Eclipse releases something, and then you've got this band called Nestor that I'd never even heard of, and
yeah,
I think they're on your guys' label too on Frontiers. They're a tremendous. So there is a lot of that. It seems like at some point America would more embrace you guys or these bands, and it just seems to be. I don't know if it's just the airplay, the promotion that just doesn't somehow get here. Everybody that I show a Crazy Lixx album, they just can't believe it, and they are all fans. cultivated several Crazy Lixx fans just by showing them, a video here or there. But man, there's so many great bands in Sweden. And I feel like America, as you guys address on the new album, Street Lethal, that maybe America is dropping the ball a little bit when it comes to hard rock music. That's what the song and video Anthem for America is about.
Yeah.
Tremendous video too, and the song is great. And he said somebody pulled the plug around 1993, and Joel, I agree with you guys. You got to save us, save America, Crazy Lixx.
Was the old slogan, "Make rock great again"?
Exactly. that saying would be met with a lot of divisiveness here in America, of course.
Yeah, we got that on the video as well. I mean, there's if you watch the Anthem of America video, one section of the comments is like 120 different replies to that, and they're discussing everything. And I remember we did one song from For a While, and somebody said, "Oh, this should be the theme song for Trump's presidential campaign." And
what?
Oh, he got tortured online, and we were just sitting there going, "We're not living in America. We don't care about politics. It's not about politics. It's just about the music." And I don't know. I mean, I do follow a couple of American bands, but it seems to me that most American bands, I mean, I don't know if it's just the distance that I can't find it, but it seems to me that the American bands, the younger bands, usually are more into heavier stuff like Lamb of God and this deathcore music that I'm too old to understand it. I can't understand that music, but what I've seen is quite large. And many of the younger bands started playing more melodic metal and death metal and stuff like that. I haven't heard a band coming out like Nestor or Heat or something like that from America. And I'm not sure if it's just because I can't find it, and there is, but somehow it feels like, and I don't want to generalize in any way here, but it seems like Americans figure, okay, I love this band in the 80s, so they go to and fill an arena with Motley Crue, they go fill an arena with Def Leppard, they fill an arena with Ozzy Osbourne, but it seems like nobody's taking the mantle from those bands in America. Yeah. I mean, Motley Crue have once already called it quits. That didn't last very long. Ozzy Osbourne if he makes it this year out, I will be really impressed. But I mean, he can't live forever. He can't tour forever, even if he doesn't die. I mean, he will not be able to tour. And right. Kiss is the same thing. They're doing their final shows. I mean, it's like 3,000 of them, but still, it's the final shows.
Yes.
but I mean, all those bands are gonna quit someday, and I don't know what band in America will pick up that mantle.
I don't either. I think you're right, and I can't find it either if there is such a thing. But here in America, currently, what's being embraced is more a kind of classic rock sounding bands like Greta Van Fleet, Dirty Honey, that are more blues based, I guess. So I don't know, and it's that's why I love the song Anthem for America, and the video is so great. And I hope you guys did 3 videos so far for the album, and they're all tremendous. I hope everybody goes and checks them out.
No, we only did 2.
You did Reach Out and
no, Reach Out isn't a video. It's just
like a lyric video. It's
oh, okay. Maybe just lyric video, but okay. It's like a formal video with us doing our things. Just 2.
Yeah. Are you planning on doing any more, or is that kind of it?
No, I don't think so. I mean, video. I can't say never. I mean, if this Corona thing breaks out again, as we heard right now, there's a new mutation coming out, and all of our shows get canceled for 2022. I mean, we might as well do a video for that, but. Usually our videos are more in line with a release of an album.
Sure.
Usually when you make a video for an album, that's, I mean, today everything goes so fast. An album is new for a week, and then you move on because there's so many releases. So I wouldn't say a video would be in the making. I would be very surprised in that case. Yeah. We would rather concentrate on going out and play live.
I hope that can happen, that there's no further interruptions, and that you guys are able to continued success, because this album deserves, it deserves the recognition, and I can't put it over enough. So I hope everybody will go to the website, crazylixx.com. You can get all the social medias and you can become a patron for as little as like $1 a month. You can become a patron for Crazy Lixx and you get a lot of really cool posts, insights, videos, things like that. I think you guys just signed a bunch of albums for your patrons to send out, and I can't wait to get mine. You probably just signed one for me, buddy. Can't wait to get it.
We did.
That's so cool. And you feel like because I'll tell you this, like I'm such a music fan, and all the bands you talked about, Kiss, Motley Crue, I'm a huge fan of them all. I had tickets for the Kiss Vegas residency. It got canceled. But if ever there was a band that I felt like was created for me, it's Crazy Lixx. It encompasses so many things that I love. I have a Jason tattoo on my chest. So you guys did a song for a Friday the 13th video game. It's like, it's just like you guys were almost created for me to enjoy. That's how I feel. And that's when you get people like that and fans that embrace a band like that, it's a very powerful thing. So hopefully continued success on that, my friend.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, Joel, I can't thank you enough for being a part of On the Road to Rock. This is such an exciting thing. We're trying to wrestle up some more members. Danny's hard to get a hold of. He'll he's just everywhere, man. He's harder to get a hold of. So I'm going to try to keep it rolling with the good Crazy Lixx promotion going forward, but continued success. Hope everything goes great, and hopefully these shows all go off without a hitch, man, and excited for Monsters of Rock cruise and everything going forward. So thank you so much for joining us from all the way in Sweden. It's almost bedtime, I know, out there. You guys are like 8 hours ahead of us, so.
No, it's like 8:30 p.m. here, so I'm not that old.
Well, you said you've got kids now, so you don't last too much longer than 8:30.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, an hour, I'm pretty much dead, but
right.
The kids are asleep now at least.
Oh, perfect. So you get a little you time. Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much for being a part of the show. Continued success, and we'll catch up soon, my friend.
Thank you very much, man. Hope to see you in the morgue.
You betcha.
All right. Have a good one.
You too.